Hey everyone, what's going on? Mark here from TST Industries, back in the garage. And behind me I have the all-new 2025 Suzuki DR-Z4 SM. And in this video, I'll be guiding you through the installation process of our TST front flush mount turn signals on the all-new DR-Z. Now it is important to note that these signals are sold as a pair, and by default they do not include the necessary plug-and-play harness adapters that you will need if you want your signals to be plug-and-play. However, we do offer them a la carte, so you are able to purchase them as needed. Those are also sold as a pair. Now these signals are very unique. Brand new for 2025, we redesigned our basic flush mount offering to really enhance the user experience. We kept the price the same, but we went back to the drawing board with an all-new lens technology that incorporates a smoked outer lens with a clear inner lens and super bright LEDs that are exponentially brighter than our old style front flush mount signals. Now this installation process is very straightforward. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and jump right in and begin the install. To begin this install, we do need to disassemble this headlight shroud off of the motorcycle. In order to do this, we will grab a 5mm hex key, Allen key, T-handle, hex bit, and remove two bolts. We have one located on this bottom face at an angle, and then we have one located right at the top near the dash. Now we will repeat this same steps on the opposite side. The bolts are in the same location. Now with the hardware removed, we can remove this front shroud. Gently pry outward, and if you do run into any sort of tension, just note that there are these tabs located on all four posts. One of them may be caught on the surface, so just be careful, maneuver it out, and it'll free it. Now, with that front shroud removed, you have full access to the front turn signals. The two connectors we are going to focus on are this red one on the right and this black one on the left. We will begin by disconnecting them. If you have a small flathead or a small pick, that might be useful, but it is not necessary. As you can see here, if you gently push down, you can actually disconnect. But if you are using a tool, be very careful. This is a soft plastic and you do not want to permanently damage it. Now with these wires, with these connections disconnected, we can begin unrouting the signal wires. Now it is important to note, if you are not careful in this, or if you have fat fingers, you're Mr. All Thumbs, you may want to go ahead and just cut this small zip tie, but it is not necessary if you're careful. And I will show you, if you are very, very careful, you can actually, and I apologize, I'm gonna have to hop on over to this angle. If you are careful, you can actually push this connector through the zip tie and all of the sheathing with it. And this allows you to reuse the factory zip tie without making any modifications to what you're doing. So that retains all of the other connectors in place to the factory spec. But if you have some zip ties laying around, or if you're not confident in your ability to do this, you can simply cut this zip tie and reconfigure it at a later point. Now with a 10mm wrench, open-ended wrench is the best tool for this. We will go ahead and break this nut loose. There's one nut holding the front turn signals in place. Once you break it loose, you can unthread it by hand. You can see here we removed the nut from that. And now there is a flat washer located on the back of this turn signal. So what we're going to do is gently pull the signal out, carefully routing the wires out of their factory position. And while you're holding the flat washer, you're just going to very carefully snake the OEM turn signal out. Now you can remove this flat washer. And the very last step is to remove this rubber gasket. So we'll remove the cylinder from inside and then just gently pry outward. And just like that, you have now removed your front turn signal and all of the factory hardware. We are going to repeat these steps on the opposite side at this point. With our TST LED front flush mounts in hand, we can begin the installation process. We will first route the wires through the mounting points, and now we will go ahead and route the plastic washer along with the plastic locking nut onto the threaded stud of the flush mounts. Now this clutch lever side is a little difficult, so you want to be careful as you're doing this. It's only difficult because of this bracket with the brake cables routed through it. But if you're careful and you have some patience, you can see here I'm threading onto the stud just fine. And I'm going to go ahead and bottom this out like so. Now we do have a raw connection here, so we need to grab our TST plug and play harness adapters and simply connect this yellow to yellow and black to black. Now it is important to note that these signals, along with your stock front turn signals, do not have a running light function like some other modern motorcycles. That is just a trait of this system, but we do have components that can allow you to enable a running light function. However, on this bike, it does require you to splice into a constant power source like your headlight wiring, an auxiliary port, or even the dash. Because this bike is being borrowed from a dealership, we cannot show you how to do that, but just know we do have components available that you can connect via a plug and play connection point here that would allow you to plug your signals into the OEM connection and also splice into a constant power source that's fused, that you can enable and introduce a running light function onto your front turn signals. So just keep that in mind. Now we do have our harness adapter connected. We're going to go ahead and seat the rubber insulators over the billet connectors. And this is a layer of security to prevent them from coming in contact with one another and then short circuiting and blowing a fuse. Now we will go ahead and test our connection. Power the bike on. Don't look at the signals as you're doing this because you will blind yourself. But as you saw, we do have a functioning turn signal. So we'll power the bike down, disconnect this, and route this connection through the zip tie from the factory, or if you removed it and installed another zip tie, you will connect it that way. Carefully route this through here like so, and gently, carefully route the wire loom and then finalize this connection point. And just like that, this side is complete. We're going to repeat the steps on the opposite side at this point. Now you do want to make sure that this washer is centered on this post. If it is not, I mean, the signal can't fall in there, but the locking nut may. So you want to make sure that the flat nylon washer is secure and not inside of the mounting surface. There we are. And again, yellow to yellow, black to black when using our plug and play harness adapters. And for an additional layer of security, You can always, and it's something that we recommend, you can always add on a layer of electrical tape onto each individual connection point, just enhancing the preventative measures to avoid issues down the road. Now, we are almost complete. However, we do need to go ahead and tighten down the locking nut. So grab a 17mm open wrench, and you don't want to over tighten this. You just want to create some preloaded tension, and it should be tight to movement like this by hand. If you cannot move the signal up and down, if you can just change the angle, that is locked in, it is secured. We'll repeat the steps on the opposite side. Now we're just gonna go ahead and make a nice clean look here by tucking away some of this wiring. And now we can begin the reassembly process. Now we tested the one signal. I'm confident in what I did here. I repeated the same steps, but of course you should always test both sides, ensuring proper functionality. Now we can go ahead and grab the OEM headlight shroud, and we are going to just route this into place. On the back of the shroud, there's actually these posts. Let me remove this so you can see. We have these posts here that interlock into their mating surfaces. You may hear an audible snap in some of the locations, and others may just be a little bit tighter or looser. So just keep that in mind. And now we can go ahead and grab the hardware and our 5mm Allen key or T-handle and begin the reassembly process. We're just gonna go to bottom out on these. Once they bottom out, we will move on to the next. And before we finalize the entire installation, we will go ahead and tighten these down. Sometimes applying a gentle amount of force on this shroud can help ensure that you are seated properly. All right, now that we're bottomed out, we're gonna go another 1/8 to 1/4 of a rotation, ensuring that these fasteners are preloaded, but not over tightened. There you are, and just like that, this installation is now complete. And just like that, you are now ready to ride. As you can see, you have successfully installed our TST LED front flush mounts on your all-new DR-Z, getting rid of the stock bulky turn signals, really streamlining the look on the front end of your bike. And I gotta say, these signals are super, super bright. They have a very unique look, unlike anything else you'll find on the market. And with the mix of a clear and smoked lens all in one, really hits both sides of the market, getting you something unique, bright, best of all, plug and play with no modifications needed. Now it is important to note that as you saw, we installed these signals and they function correctly, they flash at the correct rate. That is because we have already removed the OEM flasher relay and installed our TST LED Gen 2 flasher relay. This flasher relay is plug and play right behind this shroud, behind the radiator shroud. It controls the entire signaling circuit, one relay for your entire bike. It's plug and play and it's customizable in speed. We have a separate video for that showing the installation of that relay, but it is important to highlight that if you install aftermarket turn signals on this bike and you do not swap your relay, your signals will begin to hyper flash. They may stay on all the time or they may not flash at all. The solution to that is our relay, so please be sure to check out that video and that product page as well. But if you're interested in the signals, we definitely recommend stopping by our website, tstindustries.com. The link to these flush mounts can be found in the description below. We have a ton of other products for the DR-Z and plenty of other models that may be in your garage. So please be sure to stop by our website. Again, that's tstindustries.com. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you just want to say, hey, let us know where you're watching from, please feel free to do so in the comment field below. We'd love to hear from you. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn the notification bell on to stay up to date with all the new and exciting videos we have coming out on the new DR-Z and plenty of other new motorcycles. And of course, we always recommend stopping by our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X, Threads, all username TST Industries. For now, this has been Mark in the TST Garage. I thank you all for watching. You guys ride safe, and we'll catch you next time.